The story of the Black Dahlia begins long before the world ever heard the name, before the newspapers sensationalized her life and death, before the gruesome discovery that shocked Los Angeles. Elizabeth Short was simply a young woman trying to survive. Born in Massachusetts in 1924, she grew up in a home fractured by abandonment. Her father disappeared when she was young, leaving her mother to raise 5 children alone. Elizabeth spent her teenage years searching for stability, but continuously drifting between homes, states, and dreams. She longed for excitement, glamour, and recognition, things she believed Hollywood could offer her. She was described as kind, soft-spoken, and strikingly beautiful, yet lonely and vulnerable. Those who met her often misunderstood her calm, delicate presence, but she carried a quiet determination to build a life better than the one she had been given. When she arrived in Los Angeles, she expected opportunity. Instead, she found a city full of predators wearing polished shoes and charming smiles. Her last days are filled with fragmented sightings. Elizabeth seen walking alone, sitting in diners, waiting for phone calls that never came, and meeting people who would later deny knowing her. Then, on January 15, 1947, in a vacant lot in Leimert Park, a woman pushing a stroller spotted what she thought was a store mannequin. But as she looked closer, the horror revealed itself. Elizabeth Short's body was severed in half, drained of blood, and displayed like a grotesque installation. Her mouth had been cut from ear to ear in a chilling Glasgow smile, and the clean precision of the cuts confused even the most experienced investigators. There was no blood at the scene, no fingerprints, no drag marks. It was as if someone had staged the body with deliberate care in a location they knew would draw attention. Everything about the crime scene felt calculated, cold, theatrical, and deeply personal. Reporters swarmed the police before investigators could even secure evidence. The name Black Dahlia spread through newspapers like wildfire, turning Elizabeth into a mysterious character rather than a human being. Behind the public frenzy, however, strange things began happening inside the investigation. Witness statements vanished. Evidence logs didn't match. Leads were shut down suddenly, as if someone with authority was quietly pulling strings. Some officers suspected Hollywood studios were at play protecting wealthy men who knew Elizabeth, or had connections that could end careers. Others believed corrupt officials derailed the case to hide earlier police mistakes. And then there were rumors of organized crime involvement, suggesting Elizabeth may have crossed paths with someone dangerous. Whatever the truth was, it became buried under layers of silence and manipulation. Multiple suspects emerged, each more disturbing than the last. One was a doctor known for violence, whose home contained surgical tools and private rooms suitable for the torture-like precision inflicted on Elizabeth. Witnesses claimed they saw him with her shortly before her death, yet every piece of evidence that could have tied him to the crime seemed to disappear. Another suspect left Los Angeles immediately after the murder, displaying erratic behavior and a history of brutality toward women. Police showed interest at first, then suddenly stopped pursuing him. Even confessions from supposed killers were brushed aside, as though detectives knew none of them were the real murderer. The deeper investigators dug, the more they encountered missing files, altered documents, and abrupt changes in direction. It became impossible to ignore the feeling that someone powerful did not want the truth exposed. Years later, more troubling details surfaced. Important crime scene photographs had been withheld for decades. Segments of the autopsy had been cut out entirely. During a departmental move, key pieces of the case file mysteriously vanished from locked storage, and one retired officer revealed that evidence boxes related to the Black Dahlia had been opened and tampered with without authorization. Items were removed, logs were rewritten. Whoever did it knew exactly what they were looking for. These actions didn't hint at incompetence. They suggested deliberate erasure. Someone wanted this case impossible to solve. Modern homicide experts re-examined the remaining evidence using today's forensic understanding. Their conclusions painted a chilling profile. The killer had medical knowledge, access to equipment, and a controlled environment where he could spend hours dissecting the body without fear of interruption. The staging suggested a desire not only to kill but to dominate, humiliate, and send a message. Behavioral analysts believed the killer might have known Elizabeth personally, or fixated on her obsessively. The murder resembled a ritual, cold, intimate, and meant to shock the world. This wasn't a random act of violence. It was intentional, methodical, and emotional. Retired detectives later stepped forward with their own confessions and suspicions. One claimed that his department was pressured to drop a promising lead involving a Hollywood figure. Another insisted that a politically connected doctor was the true killer and that his name had been wiped from official documents. A third officer admitted that on his deathbed he believed the LAPD knowingly protected the murderer because exposing him would have brought down powerful people. The case, he said, wasn't mishandled, it was silenced. As time passed, independent researchers who tried to investigate found themselves facing eerie obstacles. Documents that had been accessible for years suddenly disappeared. Interview notes were stolen from locked offices. One researcher reported being followed after speaking to a retired officer who hinted at a hidden suspect. He died unexpectedly days later, and the only items missing from his home were the Black Dahlia materials. These incidents painted a disturbing picture. The case didn't just involve a killer, but a system built to protect someone far beyond the reach of the law. Modern analysts revisiting old photographs also uncovered odd inconsistencies. Items described in early witness statements, tire tracks, clothing pieces, footprints did not appear in later file versions. Soil impressions suggested the body may have been repositioned more than once. That meant the killer, or someone connected, may have returned to the scene and adjusted the display. That level of confidence could only belong to someone who knew they wouldn't be caught. Someone protected, respected, or feared. Even stranger were the cryptic letters mailed to newspapers after the murder. While many were dismissed as hoaxes, forensic linguists identified patterns that matched one high-profile suspect whose records mysteriously vanished. The letters taunted police, mocked their failures, and hinted at personal motives. One stated, "I will give up if I get 10 years." Another included items belonging to Elizabeth. These clues felt like the killer's voice echoing across the decades, whispering triumphantly because he knew he would never be exposed. The Black Dahlia case remains haunting because every answer seems buried under layers of corruption, silence, and fear. Elizabeth Short's murder was horrifying, but the secrets surrounding it are even darker. Her story forces us to question who had the power to bury truth so deeply that even today, with advanced forensics, the case remains locked in shadows. The evidence that could have solved her murder was lost, destroyed, or intentionally hidden. And so the mystery survives not due to a lack of clues, but because the truth was taken away. Elizabeth deserved justice, not exploitation. Yet she was turned into a sensational headline, a legend coated in darkness. Behind every mystery, every theory, and every missing file is a real woman whose life was cut short by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. The Black Dahlia case continues to live because somewhere in Los Angeles, buried in forgotten archives or destroyed long ago, lies the truth someone never wanted the world to find. And until that truth is uncovered, the case will remain an open wound in American history, a ghost that refuses to rest, whispering from the shadows, reminding us that some secrets were meant to stay hidden forever.
If you like this video and want me to create more like this, then like this video and subscribe my YouTube channel